The Timefall are creatures that resemble dark humanoid shadows with long black umbilical cords. They float ominously in the air, invisible to most. They resemble the bridge babies seen in the trailers by having umbilical cords, and can only be detected with the bridge babies. The Timefall contrasts the bridge babies as the babies symbolize youth, birth, connection, warmth, and new beginnings. The Timefall symbolize the end, suffering, cold, and traits of unnatural origin. Using the theme of chirality, I theorized the Timefall as being a type of bridge or connection to two worlds, the babies being a connection of one, and the Timefall of the other, being mirror images of each other but not the same. Chirality in this example refers to something being asymmetrical in that it cannot be superimposed on its mirror image, much like the left and right hand. As a metaphor, the bridge babies stand as one hand, while the Timefall stand as the other. Whenever it rains, the trailer refers to a chiralium density or chiralium levels in which the Timefall seem to appear. These lines provide hard evidence to the theme of chirality Kojima seems to be focusing on. Whether he meant it on a molecular level or a metaphorical level is not clear. This is up to interpretation until the game is released. The Timefall only appears when it rains. They leave physical footprints in the ground that fill with a black liquid like water. When touched by the Timefall, water seems to submerge everything around it, creating a void out, a large crater in the surrounding area. The world that the Timefall seem to connect to is one of warfare, death, and the world of the main antagonist, the man in the golden mask, who seems to be able to control the Timefall. It could even be theorized that he is one of the Timefall. The main antagonist is always associated with the Timefall. He is the exact opposite to the main character, as he looks identical by having a bridge baby and a detector attached to him, except its design and use are different. He is associated with the colors red, gold, and black, and he is seen with dolls, an explicit contrast to the baby because it is void of life and is false. We also don't see a clear appearance of his bridge baby, which may have sinister reasons as to why this is. It is also colored red instead of yellow, symbolizing violence or intense emotion. We also see him able to call upon the Timefall using the bridge baby, because it lights up whenever he does this. He is seen with black tendril-like cords that connect to skeletal-like soldiers. These soldiers may be a part of the Timefall since they share the same world, traits, and characteristics. The dolls also have no umbilical cords and have a cross, similar to the main protagonist. The fact that the Timefall bring you to this warlike world, filled with doll-like babies, the main antagonist, skeletal soldiers, show the exact contrast of the world the main protagonist seems to walk around in. One world is of desolation, peace, and loneliness, but the world of the Timefall seemed completely the opposite. Destruction, bloodshed, fear, and chaos, anything but peace and purity. An interesting scene in the trailers is that most intros start with the bridge baby inside the throat, but one depicts the protagonist with a doll and blue skin, about to kill himself after being consumed by the Timefall's water. People try to kill themselves before taken by the Timefall. The powers of the Timefall must be feared and dreaded by the people for them to want to do this, something worse than death. This also infers the madness or torture of the Timefall are capable of inflicting, tearing people from true connection with each other to one of isolation and despair, void of hope. The Timefall have the ability to age organic life around them. This is seen with the birds, the plants, and humans in the trailer. They also contrast bridge babies with this ability because the babies are exemplified as being youthful and full of life, and the Timefall are exemplified as aging, and loss of life. The bridge babies can also be a symbol of purity and innocence, while the Timefall are a symbol of impurity and destruction. They look like the adult versions of the bridge baby, and people tend to assume that as an adult, you lose these traits as you age. The title of Death Stranding is also referred to in the trailers. It is spoken as if it were an event, the Death Stranding. The Timefall must have something to do with this event. It may be what created the apocalyptic world the main protagonist is in. And this event itself has many mysteries surrounding it, concerning the Timefall, the bridge babies, the main antagonist, and the history of the game. The drowning, the aging, the warlike worlds, and the void outs all seem like things that people want to avoid when they see the Timefall. These are all explanations as to why people want to avoid them and end up trying to kill themselves because of it. Even though they come back from the void outs, it seems as though they'll be changed in some way. This concludes a short analysis on the Timefall through the trailers. They speak poetically about the need for a connection, in both toxic and meaningful ways. The Timefall are interesting creatures. They are both mysterious as well as ominous, a nightmare waiting around every corner. And once the game is released, we'll be able to learn so much more about these interesting creatures, who they really are, why they exist, and what purpose they have in the lore of Death Stranding.